this one will be. We're here for the first part of qualifying, here for the Japanese Grand Prix. At the moment, Arthur's just gone fastest in the Toro Rosso, so he has gone back out on a set of softs. We saw him set a lap time earlier on a set of hard tyres, and he has now gone fastest with the soft tyres. So that is something to watch with that the Toro Rosso to go fastest. That's a cracking effort from him. Gareth is on a slow down lap. He's currently in the bottom 5. We've got Dan retired from qualifying. We've also got Kyle, the newcomer, has been disqualified, so he will be starting right at the back. Dan will be starting 19th. Currently at the moment, this is Thomas Edwards in the other Mercedes. He's 16th at the moment, so he will be trying to get out of that bottom 5. And he's on 3 lap old tyres, so this is going to be difficult for him to do that. Let's have a look what this lap is. It's not an improvement. He might just be winding the car up to go again. So let's see how he gets on. As he comes through these fabulous series of S's at the start of the lap. All around the same sort of speed as well. Oh, and he's off. Oh, we got a little bit of oversteer on the outside of that Dunlop curve, and it just threw him to the inside of the track. Very lucky to avoid hitting the wall there, but he's half a second down on his best. We've got Andrew in the McLaren going back out. He's currently on the bubble in 15th position. Also Fraser McKenzie going back out. He's 17th at the moment. Only quicker than Gareth, who's also chosen to stay out on track on old soft tyres. There's a Williams off. There's a Williams off. Is that Fraser McKenzie off? No, it isn't. It's another Williams. He's off. That's Anthony Bauer. Spun coming out of Spoon. So he's 13th at the moment, so he should be okay. But a big moment there on the way out of Spoon corner. So here is Andrew. He's on his quick lap now. Fraser McKenzie's about to start his lap. Gareth, I think he's winding up to have one more attempt at this. Let's see how he can do. So let's have a look. Currently at the moment, Thomas Edwards has gone to the pit, so he's not going to be making it through. We're down to the last few seconds of qualifying. Gareth has just been able to start another lap, so this is it for Gareth now. And Waddington didn't quite make it around to start his lap. We've got Phil in the Haas about to cross the line, and he stays 14th. Here is Andrew in the McLaren. He's 0.8 of a second up, and at the moment that would move him well into the top 10 at the moment. So this is a great effort from the other McLaren. We saw both McLarens so quick in Russia. At the moment, Jamie Callan is up in second place. Here is Andrew coming across the line. Where does he go? He goes 9th. So good effort from him. Here comes Jorge. He's 13th at the moment. Ant Waddington did just start his lap. Jorge goes 7th. So another good effort from the Renault. Here is Ant Waddington. Let's have a look. These are the guys down in the bottom. Here is Fraser McKenzie. He's a fraction down. It doesn't look as if Fraser's going to improve either. He's 17th at the moment in that Williams. Struggled a little bit in Russia and ended up crashing out. How is he going to do here? He comes round the final chicane. Gareth hasn't improved either. He remains 18th on the grid. Fraser McKenzie remains 17th. So we've got the cars who are out of the session. I don't know if Phil knows that. He's in the Haas. He's 15th at the moment. Let's have a look. He comes down to the final chicane. Can he improve his lap time? No, he's made a mistake there in that chicane, so he will not improve. So we've got a bit of a shock there in this first part of qualifying. We've got a Mercedes out. In fact, we've got both Mercedes out. Thomas Edwards, 16th on the grid, couldn't quite find the pace, and Kyle, his teammate, was disqualified. Bit of a harsh disqualification, really. He was trying to get out of the way after a spin, but the stewards deemed it as dangerous, and they have disqualified him from the session. Dan in the Renault retired as well, without setting a lap time. So there we see confirmation. A great lap time from Arthur. He's going to be one to watch in that Toro Rosso. Fastest. Jamie Callan second in the McLaren. Callum third for Ferrari. Jamie Keats also a good effort for him in the Alfa Romeo to go fourth. Ant Waddington fifth. Sam sixth in the second Ferrari. But the bottom five is what we're interested in. And just very, very quickly, Thomas Edwards in the Mercedes is out. So is Fraser McKenzie, who starts 17th. But that is his best qualifying. He qualified 20th in Russia, so he'll be pleased to improve on that. Gareth 18th in the second Alfa Romeo. Dan didn't set a lap time, and Kyle was disqualified from the session. So that is our bottom five. We move now into Q2. Again, we lose the slowest five from this session, but this session does have a little bit more importance because the cars who make it into the top 10, they have to start the race on whatever tyres they set that lap time on. So this is where we see a lot more tactical decisions being made by the team. Some cars going for medium tyres to go a little bit further into the race. It's a 53 lap race tomorrow. And as we saw in Russia, a few surprises can happen when the top teams go for the medium tyres and the slower teams go for the softer tyres, and quite often they can out-qualify the quicker teams trying to go tactical. So we saw even Callum get worried in Russia and have to go back out again. So a lot of cars streaming out the pits. Again, Anthony Bauer, the first car to leave the pits. We also have Callum in the Ferrari. Those two have got on medium tyres, as has Gregor in the Red Bull. Joe Newman in the Racing Point, and Arthur in the Toro Rosso, and Michael Booker in the other Racing Point have gone out on a set of softs. And Andrew in the McLaren has also gone out on softs, so has Jamie Keats in the Alfa Romeo. So a real split strategy so far. Let's see who it works for. 15 minutes in this session. We lose 3 minutes of the session. So a little bit tight on time. It's quite a long lap here. We saw lap time about 90 seconds. So don't want to be leaving it too late to leave the pits to set a lap time. Still got roughly half the field still in the pit lane. So here is Anthony Bauer. There's a Toro Rosso screaming up behind him. I think that is probably Ant Waddington. Oh, and Anthony Bauer's lost it. He's also lost it on that bump out of the final corner. And Anthony Bauer spins. We've seen a couple of cars do that so far. So Anthony Bauer, well, that is disqualifying, that ruined for him. He will have to pit. Here is Arthur in the Toro Rosso. He will now be our first car to set a lap time. Assuming a little bit of oversteer there in the middle of the S's. They got it back in nicely through the Dunlop curve. He's built, oh, and again a little bit of oversteer. So I'm just turning to the right there. So he does seem to have a car that's a little bit on the edge in terms of traction. A little bit wide in the first part of Degner as well. We saw him just kick up a bit of dirt on the entry. Now down to the hairpin. But definitely that Toro Rosso seems to be a little bit on the edge in terms of traction. We saw him a couple of times with a bit of oversteer. Let's see how he gets on. The spoon is normally a good test. Important change of direction. Let's see how he gets on into the first part. And again, yes, and just saw it there. He had to turn into it a little bit. It can upset your straight line speed. All the way down to 130R. Such a brilliant corner to watch there. The cars really do turn in sharply into that. Into the final chicane. Nice bit of curb. We see some cars really taking a lot of curb in there. And he's pitting. So he's obviously decided that wasn't quick enough. Here comes Gregor as he goes across the line. And he goes fastest on a 31.4 on the medium tyres. Callum goes quicker still at 129.4. That's an excellent lap time from Callum. Also on those medium tyres. Joe Newman goes second for Racing Point. Here comes Jamie Keats about to finish his lap as Andrew goes fourth for McLaren. Michael Booker goes fifth. That might be a disallowed lap there, I think, for Jamie Keats, who took a lot of curb in that final chicane. Here is Jamie Callum about to start his lap. This is Sam in the second Ferrari. Definitely will be aiming for Callum, no doubt about it. As Sam crosses the line and he goes sixth. So he had a slow lap there on 41.0. Anthony Bauer only did a 1:49. He did complete that lap. I thought he might dive into the pits there, but he's decided to throw a second lap at it. So let's see how he gets on with that. Here is Ant Waddington coming through to complete his first flying lap. So he gets on again. Nice bit of curb there in that final chicane. As Ant Waddington crosses the line and he goes second. Well, he'll be delighted with that. Quicker than the Red Bull on the same tyres. He'll be very pleased with that. A 1:31.1 from Ant Waddington, but still 1.7 seconds nearly slower than Callum in the Ferrari. So that Ferrari, whatever Callum's setup is, it clearly is working extremely well. Here is Jorge crossing the line. He saw that bump there that's catching a few cars out. Jorge goes up to second. Brilliant lap time from him. 1:31.0 in that Renault. Arthur's gone back out again. Here is Jamie Callan coming through to complete that Racing Point. Did get nicely out of the way. I think that's Michael Booker recovering to the pits. Let's see what Jamie can do. Was looking good in Russia until he got caught out by the wall at the exit of the chicane, which got so many cars out. And he ended up not scoring any points at all. And he goes third. He was looking very good for a podium for a long time in that race there was Jamie. Here is Devon. He is also on those medium tyres. So his teammate will be the immediate target. And he's turned his engine down, so he's not on a completely quick lap there. We just heard the engine note quite low down that back straight. He'll be turning it up now for another shot at this. Anthony Bauer, meanwhile, has completed another lap. He goes into 9th place. Devon goes 10th, but not a representative lap time. So we've got Jamie Keats back out again in the Alfa Romeo. Jimmy still in the pits, interestingly enough. And this is Arthur, who we saw abandon his lap last time around. He's gone back out again on a new set of medium tyres. He was on the softs before, so maybe it's a change of tactics here from Toro Rosso. His teammates on the mediums, and they've shown he has got good pace on those tyres, so maybe it's just a change of tactics for Arthur as opposed to any mistake on the lap. Such a good partnership, I think, here at Toro Rosso. Ant Waddington and Arthur, these two, I think, will be very good. A little bit wide there in the second part of Degner, but we saw some great pace from Arthur in Russia until again he got caught out at the wall that everyone else got caught out on as well. That's not 8 retirements in that wall during the race. So let's see how he gets on here. Phil is now out on track in the Haas on the set of soft tyres. Interestingly, the other Haas is still in the pits as Michael Booker leaves the pits again. Again, a little bit wide there for Arthur coming out of Spoon. But he might just get away with that. Down into 130R. Getting away is just trying to get through this session without overstressing the tyres, especially if you can make it through to Q3 and you're starting the race on these tyres. And Arthur goes 5th. on a 1:31.2. So just under a tenth slower than his teammate. So he'll be happy with that. Oh, a lot of curb there. Let's see who else is out on track. This is Jamie Keats coming through to complete his first timed laps of this session. And look at that. In the Alfa Romeo, he moves up to second. 1:30.7. Brilliant lap from him. Phil in the Haas. Let's see what he can do. Comes out of the final chicane. A lot of curb. Has he gone away with that? Let's have a look as Phil moves up to 13th. So not quite quick enough at the moment. Oh, and there's Williams off. Anthony Bauer's one flying off the track. I think he was trying to get out of the way of the Ferrari of Sam, who's on his quick lap. So, well, he did that well, I suppose. Got nicely out of the way. Here is Sam. He's gone on the same set of medium tyres. So, let's see if he can get enough pace. A couple of shout-outs of people who are watching the stream live. We've got Ben Hazelwood, who has said hello. We've also got Jack Smith, one of the reserve drivers. He also... Oh, and Phil's retired from the session. Not sure what's happened, but Phil has retired from the session, so he will be taking no further part. I'm not sure if it's an accident. It's in the first couple of sectors of the lap. I'll see if I can find it. But Phil, well, he was pushing hard, and it's not worked out for him. He is out of qualifying. Just very quickly to go back to the shout-outs. We've got Ben Hazelwood. We've got Jack Smith, one of the reserve drivers for the league. He is watching the stream as well. Likewise, Andrew as well, who's racing here. We've also got someone else saying that Callum for the win. And also my other half is also watching the stream and would like to say hello as well. So good evening, Charlie. So back to the qualifying. Jimmy's gone 11th now in that Haas. A good effort from him. Phil, he's going to be starting 15th on the grid in the Haas. He has retired from the session. We've got just under 4 minutes to go. So Anthony Bauer now has gone on to a set of soft tyres. He needed to really. He is 14th in the session. And judging by Russia, he certainly should be quick enough to get through in that Williams. Jimmy might have another set of soft tyres available to him. Look at that traffic ahead of Anthony Bauer here. Hopefully for him, they will get out of the way as quickly as possible. I think one of them has. I think it was a Racing Point. And yes, the Toro Rosso. Nicely out of the way. No, there's the race. This is the other Toro Rosso. Both Toro Rossos there close together on racetrack. They both nicely get out of the way for Anthony. So it shouldn't cost him too much time, because he's in the middle sector now. Through this long right-hander, absolutely flat. Wet conditions, of course. That corner is terrifying to hang on to. Into the first part of Spoon. Car looking good. I have noticed a couple of car setups here. They are looking like they're right on the edge of traction out of some of the corners, or if they hit a curve. So look out for that in the race on older tyres. Could see a few spinners. Through 130R. Into the final chicane. There's been so much incidents in that chicane over the years. Oh, and again a bit of oversteer on the exit. Has that compromised his lap a lot? Anthony Bauer moves up to 10th, just into the top 10 at the moment. A 1:31.4. That fraction of second, it did cost him time. That slide, because he's only a fraction behind Gregor in the Red Bull. The current top 10 is a Ferrari 1-2 at the moment. Jamie Keats, an excellent lap in the Alfa Romeo to be third. Horgate is fourth for Renault. Jamie Callan is fifth for McLaren. Joe Newman is sixth for Racing Point. Ant Waddington is seventh. He's gone back out again. Likewise, Joe Newman. Arthur's gone back out on another set of medium tyres. This is the same medium tyres he used before when he abandoned his lap. So, no, sorry, he's gone back out on the same tyres. So let's have a look. He's just under half a second down in the first sector. Gregor's gone out as well on a brand new set of soft tyres. So he will be looking to improve on his 9th place. Doesn't feel safe there at the moment. Anthony Bauer is on an in lap, so he's not going to have enough time unless he's got enough fuel, which I don't think he has. That could be it for Anthony Bauer. Also Andrew in the second McLaren and Jimmy in the Haas are all back out on track. Devon is on a lap at the moment. Where is he? Here he is coming through the second sector into the hairpin. He is 13th. Red Bulls look so strong in the first part of qualifying. They're currently 9th and 13th. And that is Michael Booker almost off the track in the Racing Point. So here is Devon. Where is Andrew on track? He's just started his lap as well. So Devon is the first one of the bottom 5. Interestingly, Adam Waddington's done an excellent lap time to move into 2nd place in the Toro Rosso. He didn't feel safe in 7th. He went back out on track and he has gone 2nd. So some excellent performances from midfield teams at the moment with Ant Waddington, Jamie Keats, as Gregor goes 4th and Devon goes up to 3rd place. So excellent response by the 2 Red Bulls. They go 3rd and 5th. That should see them through. The session is now over and I don't think, no, Jimmy hasn't been able to start his lap. So I don't think he's going to be improving here. Unless I'm mistaken, which I might well be, but who knows. Here is Michael Booker. He is improving a little bit on his lap. Is it enough to get him out of the bottom 5? No, he goes 12th. He's gone into 12th place, so he is out of qualifying. Here is Andrew in the second McLaren. He'll definitely be wanting to get into Q3. Let's have a look. He goes, just about at the moment. He's 10th. The only person who can knock him out is Arthur, and he's not going quick enough at the moment. So there is our bottom 5. Phil will start in 15th position. Jimmy just ahead of him, his teammate, 14th in the Haas. 13th for Michael Booker in the Racing Point. 12th for Anthony Bauer. He will be disappointed with that after a strong showing in Russia. But of course, he did qualify outside the top 10 in Russia, and he came home 5th. And Arthur will be disappointed as well after some excellent pace. Just hasn't been able to put a decent lap together. And he is 11th. Those are the bottom 5. There are cars still finishing laps, I believe. Yes, Gregor's not going quick enough. Neither is Devon. So the 2 Red Bulls just waiting for them to re-enter the pit lane. But Callum fastest. Anthony Waddington, what a lap from him in the Toro Rosso to go 2nd. Quicker than both Red Bulls. Devon 3rd, good effort from him. Sam 4th in the second Ferrari. Gregor 5th. Jamie Keats 6th in the Alfa Romeo. Jorge 7th in the Renault. Jamie Callan 8th for McLaren. He also starts on the medium tyres, as do the 2 Ferraris. 9th for Joe Newman and 10th for Andrew in the second McLaren. Just made it through. So now we await Q3. Just waiting for Q3 to start. Have a little look at the chat of people. Yes, Andrew, pleased to be into Q3. And for whoever's listening on the stream, Funworks, I would say what your name is, but I don't actually know what your name is, so I'll just call you Funworks for now. But he's predicting Callum for the win for this race. So there we see confirmation of the top 10. Callum Ant, fastest 2 in that session. Will that be the same in Q3? Look out for that Toro Rosso, but you've got to say, look out for Callum. He was 3/4 of a second quicker than the rest of the field, despite being on harder tyres. So he could be one to watch, definitely, in this session. I know he does like this track. And if memory serves me correctly, he did very well here last season as well. So definitely be looking for a strong result here. Don't forget, with Stephen not racing here this weekend, Callum is 68 points behind Stephen in the World Championship. If he can get 25 points, the championship, which looked like it was almost done and dusted a few races ago, is suddenly going to be a lot closer. 68 points with a possible 26 available tomorrow. That will take the championship lead down to 42 points, and suddenly he's back within range. So important race here for Callum with Stephen not racing. Oh, thank you, Aaron. I now know what your name is, so I'll know that for future reference. And Anthony Bauer there, also disappointed not to get through to Q3 in that Williams. Couldn't quite get a lap together. He certainly looked like he was quick enough. So Callum is out. Jamie Keats is out. Excellent effort from Jamie in that Alfa Romeo. Also as well, just so everyone knows, the prediction is for a dry race here. So hopefully no rain, although it does spice up the racing a lot. Personally, I love compensating on a wet race. So you never know. Hopefully we might have a little bit of a sprinkling, but the weather forecast is for a dry race. So we're watching Callum. I'm going to try and take you on a lap around Suzuka again with Callum. I've tried a couple of times, but people have either abandoned the lap or made mistakes. So here we go. This is the final chicane. Very, very important corner here. It's got to get good traction out of here because it's downhill on the exit. There's the DRS zone. Accelerate very, very quickly up to just over 200 miles an hour for turn 1. Look at the speed into this corner. Flick down a couple of gears, you brake halfway around the corner, down to about 85 miles an hour for turn 2. Then into these S's, about 135 miles an hour, drop down. Some of them a little bit quicker, some a little bit slower, but they're all between 115 and 135 miles an hour. Callum's made another mistake there in that S, into the Dunlop corner, about 135 at the start, and then he just builds speed through the exit. Long way uphill into the Degner curve. Flick down one gear at 155 miles an hour. Second part, 85 miles an hour. Lots of traction on the exit. Always has been. Up towards the hairpin. You turn right, then brake hard as soon as you can. Try and brake in a straight line. 45 miles an hour at the apex. Then back on the power as soon as you can. This long right-hander, absolutely flat. Even in the wet, even though it is terrifying to do it in the wet. Up about 190 miles an hour again, down a couple of gears, 125 miles an hour, first part of spoon, second part about 100 at the apex, back on the power again, as hard as you can, drop downhill again slightly here, so the car builds up speed very, very quickly, slight crest there, you can't really see it on this camera, through 130R, absolutely flat, 195 miles an hour, then brake as late as you dare for this 55 mile an hour chicane, straighten the car up as soon as you can, back on the power, long right turn towards the line, and Callum does a 129.9 in that Ferrari, half a second slower than he managed on the medium tyres. So there's definitely more speed to come. Joe Newman's gone second, but a little bit off the pace. Here is Jamie Keats on a lap in the Alfa Romeo. Watch out for him. I'm predicting him to maybe get top 3 in that Alfa. He's looked so strong here so far. And Jamie Keats goes second on a 130.7. Let's see who else is coming near the end of the lap. Here is Andrew in the McLaren, coming through to complete his first flying lap here of Q3. They all get given an extra set of tyres as well here. And it's just about going as quick as you possibly can in this final session. Don't have to worry about the tyres. Just absolutely go for it. And Andrew goes 5th. We've got Jorge gone 3rd. Sam's up to 2nd. Jorge 3rd. Jamie 4th. Andrew's now 5th. And Joe Newman is 6th. as Devon moves up to 5th on a 1:31.3. Ant Waddington just leaving the pits. Here is Jamie Callan. 7 minutes of the session to go. He's going a little bit wide there in the second part of Spoon, but it should set him up nicely. Get on the power a little bit earlier. Into 130R. Again, that McLaren not as quick as the Ferrari in a straight line. So they do seem to be working on the handling side of things here rather than the straight line speed. With that Renault engine, very difficult to get a lot of power. But look at that. Jamie goes second. Excellent lap time from him. 1:30.2. He will be delighted with that. So current grid, Callum on pole position as it stands at the moment. Jamie Callan second. Sam third for Ferrari. Horgate, he'll be delighted with that. Fourth at the moment. Second row of the grid in the Renault. Jamie Keats fifth. So instantly the commentator's curse has worked here because I said top 3 and he's dropped down to 5th. Devon is 6th for Red Bull. Joe Newman 7th and Andrew 8th in the McLaren. We're still waiting for 2 cars at a lap time. That's Ant Waddington and Gregor. Ant is just about to start his lap. Gregor's still in the pit, so he's going for just 1 lap, it would appear at the moment. So, Ant starts his lap. He's another strong contender for the top 3, judging by his pace in Q2. A little bit wide in turn 2 there. Might just get away with that. Would just cost him a little bit on acceleration out of that corner. It's such a short straight down to turn 3 and the start of the S's. The important thing for him would be have a look. Again, looking good. Kick up a little bit of grass there on the way into the second part of Dagenham, but he'll get away with that. Down into the hairpin. There's McLaren ahead of him. I think that is Jamie Callan on his in lap, so hopefully Jamie will see him and get nicely out of the way. You've got Callum Harrod has gone back out again. He's gone out early for his second run in qualifying, so interesting tactic from him there. Trying to avoid the traffic. And of course, doing that, you put yourself into traffic when everyone else comes out at the end of your flying lap. So let's have a look how Ant Waddington can do. Very good middle sector. He's right up there with the top 2 at the moment. In fact, if I remember rightly, he's actually a couple of tenths up on Callum. So this could be an interesting lap here from Ant Waddington. So he comes across the line. Toro Rosso have only ever had 1 pole position in their history. And Ant Waddington goes 4th. He does 1:30.4, fraction slower than the second Ferrari. Gregor's also now gone out on track. Callum's now on his quick lap. Let's see if he can improve. Down into turns 1 and 2. We did see an error from him, of course, when we were on the onboard lap. We did see a couple of little errors, especially in these S's. It's so difficult, though, with these S's, to get them right every single time. 53 laps, of course, tomorrow, so expect to see some incidents in there because it's so difficult to thread the car through there perfect every single time. He looks a little bit better this time around, and indeed, look at that, 6 tenths up. So Callum Harrod, I think, is about to put a very strong stamp on qualifying here. If he can maintain this pace, he's 6.5 tenths up, which will put him deep into the low 129s. Callum driving so well. Drove brilliantly in Russia. And he drove well in Singapore as well in the other race I commentated on. Dragged that car onto the podium and he didn't look capable of it. Jamie Keats has gone second on his 4th lap on those tyres. Jamie Keats has gone into 2nd place. Callum 8 tenths up. Look at all this traffic though. Will he get out of the way? Yes, it has just about. They both have to cut the corner, but I think they'll get away with that. 2 cars very close together. They just saw Callum coming at the last second. And Callum, look at that. 9 tenths of a second up. 1.1 seconds quicker than anyone else. Callum, 1:29.0. Surely no one is going to beat that. Jamie Keys looking good though in second place. Here is Gregor. He is 10th at the moment. Yet to set a lap time. His teammate is 8th. He's 4 tenths up though on his lap. So he could improve yet too. 4 tenths would move him up a place. So how much more time can he find through the rest of this lap? Here is Gregor coming through to complete his first flying lap, probably only flying lap of Q3. Can he hold it all together over that? But yes, he does. Let's have a look. And Gregor goes 7th. And again, Devon slightly up in the middle sector too. So he's nearly half a second quicker than his previous best. So if he can find half a second, he could be knocking on the door of certainly the 4th row here. And his teammate Ant Waddington has retired from the session. So I think he knew he wasn't going to improve any more than that. He's 5th at the moment. Jamie and Sam have gone back out. And look at that. Devon goes up to 4th. Fantastic effort from him. I said knocking at the door of row 3. He goes on to row 2 with that effort. Great lap from Devon. Much, much better here, the 2 Red Bulls, than they were in Russia. Both made it into Q3. And they're looking very good here. Joe Newman a couple of tenths up as well. This would move him up a place at the moment. Can he find much more time in this final sector in the Racing Point? Let's have a look. Joe Newman goes 9th. He moves up 1 position. And he's going to stay there as well because Andrew's still in the pit, so he isn't going to improve. Here is Jorge in the Renault. I haven't really seen Jorge yet in this session. Joe Newman also retires from the session. He knows that that's about as good as he can do. Jorge getting a tow from a Red Bull there. Will it get out of his way though? No, it hasn't, and that has blocked his lap. He's not going to be impressed with that. That is Gregor. Jorge is not going to be impressed with that. He didn't move out of his way at all. I know they're both on laps, but, well, that's going to be an interesting one for the stewards to look at there. Gregor wasn't on an improved lap. And he definitely did seem to block Jorge. Here is Sam. Jamie Callan is a fraction up as well. Devon isn't going to improve. So Jamie Callan is slightly up in the first sector. And in the second sector as well. So can he improve? At the moment, he could get onto the front row of the grid, which would be great in that McLaren. Let's have a look down into the final chicane. Can he get his braking right for that last chicane? Yes, he can. As Jamie Callan crosses the line. And he does do it. He goes 2nd. What an effort from him in the McLaren. When was the last time we saw a McLaren on the front row of the grid in Formula 1? It was a long time ago. Here is Sam coming through the final chicane now. Can he improve? He's 5th at the moment. He goes up to 3rd. So not quite an all-Ferrari front row. The last person on lap is Jorge. But he's not improving at the moment. I think he's going to stay where he is. But he'll still be delighted with that. He is 7th on the grid in that Renault. He should be diving into pits. Yes, he is. So there we have our grid. Callum, what a lap from him. 3/4 of a second quicker than the rest of the field. He will start on pole position. Jamie Callan in the McLaren will start 3rd. Sam 4th in the 3rd in the second Ferrari. Jamie Keats 4th for Alfa Romeo. That's a good effort from him as well. 5th for Devon, 6th for Ant Waddington in the first of the Toro Rossos, 7th Jorge, 8th Gregor. So improved qualifying for the 2 Red Bulls with 5th and 8th. Joe Newman 9th and Andrew 10th in the McLaren. We now have a 5-minute break till the race starts. I will see you in a couple of minutes for the introduction to the Japanese Grand Prix. So hello and welcome everyone to the Talk of the Devil Racing League, the Japanese Grand Prix here from Suzuka. Fabulous racetrack here in Suzuka, the land of the rising sun here in Japan. The only figure of 8 track on the calendar. Japan was the first country in Asia to host a Grand Prix way back in 1976 at the Fuji racetrack, and it also remained the only Asian country on the calendar until 1999 when Malaysia joined. Since then, of course, we've had lots of other Southeast Asian countries join, the likes of China, Singapore, and of course next year Vietnam. Being always near the end of the season, Suzuka's actually decided the World Championship 13 times in the past, and it can't do that this evening, but with Stephen Harrison not racing, it can have a massive impact on the World Championship situation here this evening. The track itself is 5.8 kilometres long, so just a little over 3.6 miles. Michael Schumacher, unsurprisingly really, is the most successful driver in history here. He's won this race 6 times. McLaren is actually the most successful constructor here in history with 9 wins. And of course, we've got McLaren on the front row here this evening. 53 laps. Look out for the action zones. Certainly down into turn 1, which is also one of the DRS zones down the pit straight. We saw Senna and Prost come to blows there back in 1990 when Senna deliberately, he admitted in the end, took out Alain Prost to decide that year's World Championship. And also, down at the chicane, at the end of the lap, another scene of Senna versus Prost. When Senna went for a move, Prost blocked him and they came to a complete standstill on the circuit. Also down into turn 1, of course, don't forget Kimi Raikkonen's epic pass on Giancarlo Fisichella back in 2005 to top off what was a brilliant race from him, starting 17th on the grid after a wet dry qualifying. And he came storming through the field and overtook Fisichella on the last lap to snatch what was an extremely unlikely victory that day. Only one DRS zone on this racetrack. Down the main straight. 3 tyre compounds, of course. The soft, medium and the hard. But they're the 3 medium compounds in the Pirelli range. So the hard tyres are about 1.5 seconds a lap slower than the soft tyres per lap. 53 laps of the Grand Prix, as I said. Just to run through the grid now for you, Callum dominated qualifying, was so much quicker than everyone else, even on the medium tyres, which is what he will start the race on as well. Jamie, excellent effort from him in the McLaren to sit in second position. The second Ferrari of Sam will start 3rd. Jamie 4th. 5th for Devon, 6th for Ant, Jorge 7th, Gregor 8th, Joe 9th and Andrew 10th in the McLaren. The race is about to start. So hold on to your hats, everyone, because turn 1 here, there's normally an accident somewhere. And here we go. 5 lights are on. Lights out. Away we go. It's a good start from Callum, despite a little bit of wheel spin there. And the second Ferrari, Sam trying to go around the outside of Jamie Kelly. Kelly hold him off as they go into the first couple of corners. And Sam a little bit wide. And he's still trying to hang on around the outside. And he has done it. Callum has taken the lead, or maintained the lead. And the second Ferrari of Sam is up into second place. There's a yellow flag. I think that might be Fraser McKenzie. And the Toro Rosso is involved there as well. Yes, there we see it. That is the Toro Rosso. That is Arthur. Phil is not in the race, it appears. And that's Devenoff as well. Such a strong qualifier from him. He started 5th. And he's now all the way down at the back. What happened? Jamie Keats is down there as well. We've got a Renault going slowly. That is Dan. And Michael Booker appears to be having some technical difficulties as well. Here we see this. Look at this. This is Thomas Edwards in the Mercedes getting past Michael Booker and Gareth. The other Mercedes also steaming through the field as well of Kyle. Meanwhile, at the front, look at the lead. And there's a Ferrari. Sam has fallen down the order. So Jamie's back into second place. But look at the lead for Callum. 2.5 seconds. And Waddington's had a good start as well. From 6th on the grid, he's up to 3rd in the Toro Rosso. Gregor's up to 4th. What a start we're having here. already, but Callum, this is exactly what he wanted. He's got nearly a 3-second lead at the end of the first lap. I think he's just going to run and hide in this race because no one from qualifying appears to have the pace. But this could be a great scrap here. This is Jamie Callan in the McLaren and Waddington in the Toro Rosso. Gregor as well, not far behind that. Andrew's had a good start as well. He's up to 5th. And there's a flurry of pit stops as well. Dan is in, Jamie Keats is in, Sam is in the Ferrari. And the Mercedes of Kyle is in as well. So we've got 4 cars in the pit already. Some switching to the medium tyres. But look at this battle now. DRS will only be enabled at the end of the second lap. So we've got a little bit of a while to wait yet. But Callum is just, well, I have to say this lap actually, Jamie Callum is coming back and there's a yellow flag. I think that might be Thomas Edwards has made a mistake somewhere. Let's have a look. Yes, there he is. He spun in the Dunlop corner. So he might have just caught a little bit of grass on the outside of the corner and it spun the car around. He just unsettles that loaded outside right rear tyre and it just spun him round. So unfortunate there for Thomas Edwards as he was having a fantastic run through the field right from the start. Meanwhile, also Arthur in the Toro Rosso, despite that spin at the end of the first lap, or on the first lap, he's now coming back through the field. Look at this though, this is Ant Waddington and Jamie Callum. They go through 130R, well, with full fuel loads. Ant's going to be brave there to try and hang that out around the outside, and Jamie knew it, that's why he kept the inside line. Nice defensive driving there, great driving by the pair of them to not hit each other. But I think he's going to be under pressure again. That Honda does seem to be a little bit quicker in a straight line than the Renault engine. And that's Thomas Edwards off again, I think, as they come down to turn 1. Again, Jamie defends the inside and just doesn't decide to go for it this time. So this is going to be, there is our race leader. 3 seconds in the lead already after 2 laps. He's racing away with it. But this could be the scrap to watch here. Jamie Callan in the McLaren as Thomas Edwards pits, so I think he must have had some damage from that spin as well. But this is the battle. Jamie Callan and Waddington in the fight for 2nd place. Just behind them is Gregor, keeping a watching brief in the Red Bull. He's 4th. He's had a good start from 8th on the grid. His teammate started 5th, but he's all the way down in 13th after spinning the first lap. But he's now closing in on Fraser McKenzie in the Williams, who's kind of kept himself out of trouble. Started 17th and is up to 12th. Also chasing down Arthur, who's up to 11th, amazingly. Gareth as well, from 18th on the grid, he's up to 10th. And Anthony Bauer from 12th on the grid is up to 7th. We saw this in Russia, and I think that's Jorge off. Yes, Jorge is off. He's made a mistake somewhere. That's coming out of Spoon. So I think he might just caught a little bit of grass there, and he's now dropped behind Gareth. Can he fight that position back? There's a yellow flag in sector 1 as well. I think it might be Thomas Edwards off. Oh, there's contact. That's Jorge and Gareth have made contact into 130R. I think Jorge's in the wall. Well, it's always going to happen there. You get 2 cars side by side into that corner. That's why I was super impressed with Ant Waddington, who, by the way, has now passed Jamie with the DRS. I was super impressed with those two not collecting each other, but we saw there 2 cars trying to go for the same bit of racetrack and they connected, and there is damage to Jorge. He's having to pit. Disastrous start from him. Did so well in qualifying, 7th on the grid, and he's now in the pits at the end of lap 3. But look at these two. Jamie hasn't given up on this yet. I do think that Honda engine is a little bit stronger than the Renault in the back of the Renault. In the back of the McLaren, sorry. But we saw in qualifying just how good the handling on that McLaren is. Gregor, I think, is doing a sensible thing here and just staying well out of it. He's keeping an eye on these two. He's in 4th place. That's not really an overtaking place there, Jamie, and he knew it, so he backed out of it nicely. Could be all down to the slipstream here coming out of Spoon, down to 130R and into the final chicane. Callum, meanwhile, has a 4.5 second lead. Ant Waddington will be keen to get on with this, though, because he's on the softer tyres and Jamie's on the medium tyres. So Jamie's going to be going a lot further into this race, he hopes, than Ant. So Ant really wanted to try and chase after Callum if he can, but we've seen how quick that Ferrari is. Look at that, fastest lap, a 1:35.2. Another yellow flag in sector 1, not quite sure what that is. And that is Thomas Edwards made another mistake. So Thomas Edwards really struggling in that Mercedes. So he's actually not far away from being lapped now, actually, is Thomas Edwards already on lap 5 of 53. Let's see now how far they can go into the race. Callum will be delighted with this. 4.5 second lead after 4 laps. Meanwhile, a little bit further down the field, Devon has just got past Gareth to move into 10th position. And Michael Booker's got past Fraser McKenzie to move into 12th position. So there's action up and down the field here. Oh, Jamie Verran and Greg has gone very wide there as well. Second part of Degner. So has Ant now got the pace to try and close that gap to Callum before those soft tyres go off? Let's just see a little bit of a line there on those tyres, and they're starting to get a little bit worn already. We're only on lap 5, but of course the loads that go through those tyres, through those S-bends, really does put a lot of strain on those tyres, and of course he qualified on those tyres as well. That is Sam off. Sam's had a spin. I said look out for these S's in the race, and they're catching out a lot of drivers. Sam in the other Ferrari has spun. Well, he had such a good race in Russia. It's not going well for him so far. Qualified 3rd, and he's had a couple of errors, and he's had a couple of penalties already as well, and he's down to 17th position. Also, incidentally, Anthony Bauer started the race on the hard tyres as well, so he is going to be going a very long way into this race. We saw him do that in Russia, and he ended up with a very good points total with 5th position. Also, Jamie Keats, who was pitted, has also gone on to those harder tyres. So look out for those two going a very long race. I'm not sure he can quite get to the end of the race. Look at this, though. This is Anthony Bauer and Jimmy fighting for 7th position, and Anthony Bauer's made that stick. So excellent racing from him. Also as well, super impressed here with Arthur. He made a stop at the end of lap 1. I'm sure he has made a stop. Let me just double check. I'm sure he has made a stop. No, he hasn't. Sorry, but he was caught up in that first lap shenanigans that was going on down there, and he's fought his way through the field brilliantly, and he's back into the points now in 9th place. So excellent recovery drive from him so far. Also very close here. This is Michael Booker in the Racing Point, Gareth in the Alfa Romeo, and Fraser McKenzie going a little bit better here than he did in Russia. Said after the race he wasn't particularly happy with his performance in Russia. Definitely looking to improve here. Another yellow flag in sector 1. There is and that's Sam again. He's having a disastrous race. Oh, and that's the Mercedes. Oh, and that's Sam off again. So I think possibly here Thomas Edwards might have lost it in the last corner. And Thomas Edwards is out of the race. He becomes our first retirement. Meanwhile, Ant Waddington is still racing hard. Another yellow flag in sector 3. Not quite sure what's happened there. Let's have a look if I can find what's gone on. Can't see anything here. Might just be someone just running a little bit wide. But Callum, well, the lead has stabilised at the front. The lead is now just still under 5 seconds. Michael Booker's pitted. So, bit of an early stop, but let's see what tyres he goes on to. He was running in 12th position. Another yellow flag in sector 1. Let's see who that might be. And that's Jimmy off. That is Jimmy in the Haas. Another spinner in those S's. They're catching out so many cars here. And he has got some damage to that front wing. So it's lifted Arthur up to 7th. He's just got past Joe Newman as well there. So I think Michael Booker had some front wing damage. It's a long pit stop for him. He comes out just ahead of Jorge, but behind Jamie Keats. So here is Callum. How well is he driving at the moment? Great race in Russia. Brilliant tyre conservation in Singapore as well to bring that car home on the podium. And here he just looks the absolute class of the field. 5 seconds already clear of Ant Waddington, who is now finally able to just stretch away a little bit from Jamie in the McLaren behind him. Greg has dropped back a little bit. He's 4.5 seconds further back in 4th place for Red Bull. Andrew's been quite quiet in this race, but he's up to 5th now. So he too is having a very good drive. So McLaren's 3rd and 5th. Anthony Bauer is 6th. There he is for Williams. Started on those hard tyres, so look out for him. He could go very high up the order here, because he is going a very long way on those tyres. This is the battle for 7th. This is Arthur in the Toro Rosso, as Jimmy does pit with that damage to the front wing. It was kind of inevitable. This is the battle now for 7th place. This is Arthur and Joe Newman. Not far behind them is Devon. Of course, he spun earlier in the race as well, when he was up in 4th or 5th, I think he was early on. He's now a little bit wide there by Arthur. That might open the door for Joe down into Degnut, but Joe just about decides to stay behind him. These two are just about starting to close on Anthony ahead of them. And that is Kyle in his first race in the league, getting past Gareth to move into the final points position. I'm super impressed with Gareth. He always keeps himself out of trouble, and he always ends up there or thereabouts with the points, either just inside the points or just outside the points throughout the whole race. He really has got a knack of keeping himself out of trouble as Gareth, and he normally picks up some points and some good results. Some good battle going on here though with Fraser McKenzie, former commentator in the league, of course. Fraser trying to go down the inside, little bit of contact. Fraser backed out of it, but he should get a good toe down this back straight. That Mercedes engine pushing that Williams along well, down into 130R. Are they going to give each other space? A yellow flag in sector 2 as Gareth, well, he runs very wide in that corner. He may have to give the position back. Oh, and contact. Fraser misjudged his braking. Was there any damage to that Williams? This is the fight for 11th place. They're already nearly 3 seconds behind Kyle in the Mercedes on a recovery drive. Started at the back of the grid, don't forget, but got disqualified. As Joe Newman has again got back past Arthur, and they're both closing in on Anthony Bauer. Meanwhile, at the front, as Fraser McKenzie does now get past Gareth to move into 11th place. So race order very quickly at the top 10. Callum leads from Ant Waddington by 6.5 seconds. Then there's a 2.5 second gap back to Jamie, and Greg has gone off at the hairpin. So he drops back to 5th now behind the second McLaren of Andrew. So mistake from Gregor. Shame for him, he was looking so good there up in 4th place. 6th, definitely man to watch, Anthony Bauer in the Williams. Joe Newman and Arthur having a great battle for 7th. Devon is 8th. Another fastest lap from Callum, 1:35.0. And in 10th place is Kyle in the Mercedes. Not a good race for Mercedes at the moment. Both went out in Q1, and currently they're only on for 1 point. So I think they're going to be crying out for their 2 main drivers to come back at the moment. But let's see how the rest of the race pans out. We've lost 2 drivers. Phil had some sort of technical issue, wasn't able to start the race, and Thomas Edwards crashed out. Sam also not having a good race as well, from 3rd on the grid. He's currently last of the runners in 18th position. So Callum's lead is now out to 8 seconds over Ant Waddington, who's driving well himself, but nowhere near the pace of Callum at the moment. And Callum, don't forget, on those medium tyres. Jorge gets past Jimmy. That's for 16th position. The closest battle on track now is these 3. Anthony Bauer, Joe Newman and Arthur fighting for 6th, 7th and 8th. Williams, Racing Point and Toro Rosso. And a penalty for Arthur. Might be for corner cut. It's easy to do down there in Stegner. It's very easy to misjudge a turn-in point and just skip across the curb. So now the race, I think, is going to come down to strategy. Who is going to pit when? Certainly the soft tyre runners are going to have to pit a lot earlier into this race. And it wouldn't at all surprise me if within the next 2 or 3 laps we start seeing certainly the cars in the top 10 who started on those soft tyres making their way into the pits. Another yellow flag in sector 2. Let's see if I can find what that is. Might just be someone running off. Dan's got some damage there in the Renault. Yellow flag in sector 1. Who might that be? I think that might be our old friend Sam gone off again. Yes, it is. So Sam's gone off again in the other Ferrari. He's really not far away from being lapped now by his teammate already on lap 11 of the Grand Prix. But this is the deciding thing, I think. If you have a look at the fastest lap classification, Callum, again, 3/4 of a second, as he was in qualifying, quicker than the next car. So it really does go to show here just how quick that Ferrari is here. Callum driving superbly. So Aaron, watching me on Twitch at the moment, your prediction is absolutely right. Callum looks like he's walking away with this race. Don't forget as well, for those outside the top 10, whoever sets the fastest lap of those cars will get 2 extra points. I believe it actually wasn't given in Russia because only 10 cars finished. At the moment, the fastest car outside the top 10 is actually Sam in last place. He's on a 1:35.4, but that is going to change very, very quickly. So here is Ant Waddington coming out of the chicane. We're on lap 12 now of the race, and he's also carrying on. Still, look at this fight now. Anthony Bauer, Williams, Joe Newman, Racing Point, Arthur in the... Oh, and look at that slipstream there. Joe Newman got down that back straight into 130R, backed out of it. Is he going to have a launch into the chicane? Anthony defends the inside line, does it nicely. And catching these 3 very, very quickly is Devon in the Red Bull. Now, Joe Newman could be under pressure from the Toro Rosso. As we come down the main straight, Anthony positioned his car nicely on the inside of turn 1. Is he going to have enough speed? Joe Newman there sweeps around the outside. Excellent driving there from that Racing Point. He moves up into 6th position. Anthony gave him space, and now, well, Arthur's going to want to get with that Racing Point as quickly as possible. We know the Williams is on those harder tyres. They're going a long, long way into this race. And Arthur was really pressuring Joe. They were having a scrap, and they caught up to Anthony, and now Arthur's going to want to get past that Williams as quick as possible. Bit of a mistake there from Joe in the Dunlop curve. Allows the Williams to close back up again. Look at Devon there closing up on the lot of them in 9th position. And also closing the gap slightly is Kyle in 10th position. You might just catch a glimpse of him. He's about 3.5 seconds further back in 10th. So this is such a brilliant battle. And Anthony's not giving up here, is he? Really pressuring Joe. Joe made that little error in Dunlop curve. We saw the gap close quite quickly. And he's still hanging on. Another yellow flag in sector 1. Might be Sam again, I'm afraid. But Anthony lost a little bit of momentum there. And Sam has now been lapped. He's made a stop. And that's the Williams running very, very wide and coming back at them. Look at that. That was super late on the brakes. He's defending for his life, and they've both let Devon through. A little bit naughty there of Anthony. Just wouldn't turn in. And that's the Toro Rosso in the wall. Well, we saw them make contact. That was between Arthur and Anthony. They made contact. And Arthur ends up in the wall. And now he's got damage to his front wing. And he's got a long, long way to go with very little grip back to the pits. You can see him understeering everywhere. And now Kyle's caught up. I mean, we saw them there. Anthony just wouldn't turn in to the second part of the chicane. Completely ran the Toro Rosso out of road. He's let Devon through. And he's also let Kyle close the gap right up as well. So, touch naughty, I'd say, there from Anthony. Can Kyle now find a way through? And meanwhile, poor old Arthur, he had problems like this in Russia, and now he's going to have to make an early stop. We saw him spin on lap 1 here. And 2 Alfa Romeos now, line astern. Gareth in 11th place, Jamie Keats in 12th. He has made a stop. He's gone onto those hard tyres, had some damage at the end of lap 1. So it's a sensible thing to do. Meanwhile, at the front, Callum's lead is 10 seconds now. Sam sets fastest lap of the race, as Kyle does get past Anthony. So Sam in 18th position and on the hard tyres as well. Sets fastest lap by quite a margin. So that's an interesting one. Goes to show, but for his mistakes he's made quite a few in this race, he would be well up into the points and certainly challenging his teammate. As there is Arthur in the pits. Now the two Alfa Romeos, what are they going to do here? They're on totally different strategies. Is Gareth going to let his teammate go? I think he is. Yes, he's moving to the right hand side. And yes, he doesn't even fight that. So the two Alfa Romeos working well together. Gareth lets his teammate go. So Jamie now up into 10th position with the pit stop of Arthur. So how much further into the race can these soft tyre runners go? We've got Callum leading now by just over 10 seconds from Ant Waddington. Jamie is third in the McLaren. There is Ant. There is Jamie. It's about 3 seconds back. There is Andrew in the second McLaren on the soft tyres. So split strategy here for McLaren as well. One on the medium tyres to start the race. One on the soft. Yellow flag in sector 2. And that's Anthony off. That is on the run down to Spoon, I believe. It's an unusual place to spin. So unless he was side by side maybe with Kyle. We saw them close together. But Anthony Bauer, well, he's been in the wars a bit on the last few laps. Blocked his copybook a little bit maybe, but he is now 9th. He has recovered back to the track, so he's still ahead of the two Alphas. So here's Andrew. He's driving a brilliant race. Kept himself out of the first lap drama. And he is now into 4th place. It's 3rd and 4th for the two McLarens right now. And what a result that could be if they can hang on to this. We're on lap 15 of the race. We've still got 38 laps to go after the one that they are on. And the two McLarens at the moment, though, are looking very, very good. Likewise as well, Joe's looking pretty good in 6th position. He qualified in 9th. And he's made his way up very well. So how much further into this race is Ant going to go? We're on lap 15 now. Don't forget, he did 3 laps of qualifying on these tyres as well. So he's effectively on tyres that are about 18 laps old. So showing good tyre management here is Ant. Maybe just starting to lose a little bit of time. You saw the gap out to about 3 seconds to Jamie. It's now dropped to about 2.5. So maybe those soft tyres are just starting to fade now. So it shouldn't be too long before he pits, as Greg has made another error. Greg has made another error and has dropped all the way down to 8th position behind Joe, behind Devon and behind Kyle. So again, looking so good, and he makes another error there. And almost completely stops coming out 130R. So Gregor, I think he could be struggling with his tyres. But he was looking so good at the start of the race, up in 4th. Now a couple of big errors. He dropped all the way down to 8th position. Look at this though. Joe Newman in 5th position now with Devon and a recovering Kyle. Kyle disqualified from qualifying. Rather harshly spun, tried to get out of the way of everyone else, and the stewards deemed him to be in a dangerous position, so they disqualified him. So he had to start right at the back, but he has again done very well to stay out of all the dramas that have gone on around him, and he's up into 7th place now. Lap 16, he started on the medium tyre, so he'll be going quite a distance into this race. But Devon now sizing up Joe. Racing Point versus the Red Bull versus the Mercedes. We've seen the Mercedes as the dominant car so far this season. They're certainly not at the moment. We've got one out of the race and the other one on a recovery drive from the back. So it'll be interesting to see how high up Kyle can get here from the back of the grid. He, of course, in his first race will be looking to impress the team managers, so he'll be definitely looking to try and keep himself out of trouble, as Jamie now also gets past Gregor to move into 9th place. So Gregor falling quickly down the order. So here's the fight for 5th. Joe, Devon and Kyle. And Gregor's off again as yes, Gregor's made a mistake somewhere. He's completely off the track. There he is. He's dropped all the way down to 16th now. So Joe in the pits. So he's going to drop down a few places. And at the same time, Kyle's got past Devon. So Kyle up to 5th place now. Anthony Bauer just gets past Joe. And that's Gregor out of the race. I think he's having technical issues, definitely. But Gregor, well, he's falling back down the field. Jimmy's got no front, or not a lot of front wing either there. Fastest lap of the race by Arthur. He is 14th at the moment. There's another yellow flag going on in sector 2. I'll try and see what that is. Meanwhile, Callum, very calmly, in the lead. Just set his personal best lap as well. He is 13 seconds clear of Ant Waddington. In the Toro Rosso. Still having a great race though. 2nd position. Jamie just starting to claw that gap down now. Back to under 2 seconds behind. So I think those soft tyres on that Toro Rosso are definitely starting to fade. There is a car just ahead of him. I'm trying to see which one that is for Ant to lap. Possibly Haas. Hopefully he'll get out of his way pretty quickly. Might even be Jorge actually in the Renault, who's currently 15th after his problems he's had in this race so far. Sam makes a stop. I think it was him who spun in the middle sector. He's having to stop again, and he was on the harder tyre. So he has, and that's Sam out of the race. Sam has retired, and it is the hat of Jimmy there that Ant Waddington retires. Sam has retired from the race. So this is Jamie Keat. No, this is Gareth fighting hard with Dan. This is the battle for the last point. See what I mean about Gareth? He's always there or thereabouts, isn't he? He's in 10th position. Look at the train of cars behind him, though. Dan with a bit of front wing damage in the Renault. Just behind that is Fraser. Oh, and Fraser's just pushed off the Toro Rosso there. Little bit cheeky there from Fraser McKenzie. Arthur did get alongside him, and Fraser just wouldn't give him any space. And again, nearly did it again. Chopped the nose off there almost of that Toro Rosso. And just behind that is Michael Booker. It's Gregor Pitts. While Arthur's getting a bit frustrated there, you can see he's having to dive up the inside of the hairpin. And he has made this mistake. He turns in again, though, in the middle of the corner. It's all going to be about traction now. Surely the Toro Rosso with those brand new soft tyres is going to have better traction. But Fraser's refusing to give up. He needs to get out of this one, really. And he does in the end, because that could have been an almighty accident there. Fraser a little bit cheeky at times there with Arthur, has to be said. And now, in fact, Fraser's got Michael Booker on him as well. But look at this. Gareth really taking a lot of pressure here from Dan. And then right behind that, as Michael Booker has got past Fraser now, but right behind Dan is Arthur. So these three fighting hard over the last point as Jamie gets past Anthony to move into 7th position. Have a look at this though. This is the Toro Rosso. Arthur's going for it down, getting past Dan. Dan has got DRS as well as he's right behind Gareth. Is Dan going to get the pair of him? Yes, he does. Gareth didn't see that one coming. Had to steer out of the way in the last second. And that lets Dan through. But great driving there from Arthur. That was bold. Threw it up the inside of Gareth, just enough straight line speed, and Gareth didn't see it coming until the very last seconds. And just ahead of them, there is another big fight going on. This is Anthony Bauer again having to defend for his life, this time from Jamie Keats and Joe Newman. This is the fight for 7th place, and just ahead of them, look at this fight that's going on here. This is Andrew in the McLaren with Kyle in the Mercedes, having now caught him up. So this is the fight for 4th place. As Fraser McKenzie also gets past Gareth now. Those soft tyres are really starting to fade. And yes, Andrew Pitts from 4th place in the McLaren. And Waddington now is some 16.5 seconds behind Callum, who's just relentlessly pulling away. Let's have a look at Callum. Here he is. But if he carries on at this the speed, it won't be long before he'll have an entire pit stop in his pocket anyway. He's nearly 17 seconds clear. I think it's about 25 seconds for a pit stop here. So he won't have to go that much longer, and he should have a pit stop in his pocket over the cars behind him. So stunning drive so far from Callum. Absolutely dominant. Yes, Ant Waddington's falling back now by about between a second and a half a lap. Jamie's made an error somewhere because he was catching that Toro Rosso, and now he's back to 2.5 seconds behind it. So I'm very impressed though with how far into the race the soft tyre runners are going. Well, Ant, Devon and Dan still going on their soft tyres that they started the race on, and we're now on to lap 21. And don't forget as well, of course, Ant and Devon qualified on these tyres as well. So that's 24 laps effectively at least they've done on these tyres. Admittedly, 2 of them wouldn't have been at full speed, the in laps and out laps. So Kyle's done well though, up to 4th in that Mercedes from the back of the grid. Quick top 10. Callum leads now by 18 seconds from Ant Waddington. Jamie 3rd, catching Ant once again. 4th is Kyle in the Mercedes, having a good recovery drive from him. Devon is 5th. Andrew is 6th in the McLaren. Jamie Keats has just got past Joe Newman again. Those two are having a great fight through the field. They're running 7th and 8th. Anthony Bauer is 9th, and somehow Arthur is still back into the top 10. And just behind them, we've got Michael Booker 11th, Dan 12th, and Fraser McKenzie 13th. The remaining runners, Jorge, Gareth, Gregor, and Jimmy. I believe I've been joined in the commentary box. So lap 21. Lap 21 of the race. How much further can those soft tyre runners go? Jamie definitely starting to catch up once again to Ant Waddington. They're just 1.5 seconds apart. So it won't be long before he's in the DRS zone at that rate. Taking about a second out of him on this lap so far. On to lap 22. Ant going on again. There's a car. That might help him actually a little bit. Fraser McKenzie's come out of the pits. And will he notice the McLaren's there just about? Jamie has to go wide. But Fraser, I think, just saw him coming at the last second. So, good driving there from Jamie though to avoid an incident there with Fraser, as Devon pits in the Red Bull. So Devon from 5th will probably drop behind Andrew, who's just made a stop himself. A couple of laps ago. In fact, Devon here might come out behind a train of cars. So just behind Andrew there's Jamie Keats and Joe. And he does indeed. He's just ahead of the. He's ahead of the Williams, just of Anthony Bauer. So Devon comes out in 8th place, as Dan also pits. We are now seeing those soft tyre runners having to pit. Ant Waddington is the last one to stay out there, doing a fine job once again in that Toro Rosso. Yes, I've been joined in the commentary box here by Mr. Ben Hazelwood. Good evening, Ben.
Good evening.
So, you've been enjoying the race so far. There's been a lot of action so far.
There has been a lot of action. I'm going to join as, say, like a proper pit lane manager, if you know what I mean. So, Sam. Our little old Sam here. Our Ferrari's engineer did the typical Ferrari thing and didn't put the right setup on his car, so he really struggled. So we made the decision to retire the car so it doesn't cause any incidences from when he spins or slides, which is a shame. He thinks would be nice, but
shame because he was 3rd on the grid as well, so he did well in qualifying to get 3rd with no setup.
Yeah, well, didn't realise. I think obviously when the race comes, he actually struggles with the setup, and I was like, well, why didn't you? How did you qualify? And he was like, it's the same setup, and I really struggled then. So fantastic job to put it on P3 for him. But
yes, indeed. Is there any word what's happened to Thomas Edwards? I didn't actually see what happened to him. And he retired quite early.
Yes, I'm not too sure actually. I haven't heard from him,
but meanwhile, Jamie Callan now in third place in that McLaren is now well within striking distance of Ant. Is Ant going to pit? He does indeed. So he avoids the.
He does this lap, yes.
So he avoids any fighting there with Jamie. But still a great run on those tyres. He's done nearly half the race on those soft tyres. So great opening stint.
Yeah, he's been annoying me because I wanted him to pit like lap 18 because of obviously strategies, and he wouldn't. He just kept going, and I was just like, Grr. So yeah, I'm quite glad he's boxed, but I'm impressed on how long he made those tyres last. Well done, man.
Yeah, and just for the viewers that don't know, can you just explain which teams you manage within Talk of the Devil?
Oh, sorry, yeah, I manage Ferrari and Renault.
Yes, so Renault, well, they did a good job in qualifying. Jorge got to 7th from the grid. Difficult race for them so far, but they're still outside chance of points for them at the moment. They're 12th and 14th.
Yeah, we got tangled up in some of the little incidences at the start of the race, but you know, we've got our strategies planned. We're hoping that we can get them both on the end of those points towards the end of this race. You know, this is Japan, anything can happen.
It can indeed, and we've already seen a lot of drivers falling foul of those S's, so worn tyres late in the race. Who knows what might happen? Penalty for Jimmy.
And with the amount of penalties that have been given out in this race as well, it's going to be phenomenal. But I have a message for one of your viewers, by the way. Callum has asked me to pass on a message to his uncle, like the Taunton Road. Obviously, we won't know what this means, but if you want to inform us on the chat, we can have a giggle about it. But yeah, that's what Callum asked me to pass on.
Okay. So, Callum now with a nearly 22-second lead on lap 25. He's just driven so well in this race. He's lapping one of the Renaults there. Jamie is, well, he's stuck behind one of the Alfa Romeos trying to lap him. He also driving well, started on the front row of the grid. He looks so fast in that McLaren, certainly in Russia and here as well, as has his teammates. So those McLarens are definitely running well here at the moment.
Well, one point they were 3rd and 4th.
They were. Yeah, Andrew's
definitely impressive for the McLaren here.
Yeah, Andrew's made a pit stop, so he's come out in 6th place, so he's all over the back of Jamie Keith. Not sure if Jamie's going to be able to go to the end on those tyres. He's done 23 laps already. He's on the harder tyre. So it's still a very good chance of certainly a podium here for Jamie and strong points for Andrew. A lot of fights going on in the middle of the points, so here we see it again. This is Jamie, Andrew, Devon is in there as well, so is Joe Newman. So these 4, and 5 seconds behind them is Arthur in the Toro Rosso. These 4 or 5 cars have been at each other's throats almost from lap 1 here in this race. It's been a great fight in the middle of the points.
I've been flicking back to those two, even though obviously watching the Ferraris and Renaults, but I have to keep going watching the battle just so I'm actually watching the race. Oh, what a lap time from Ant.
That's a great lap time.
2:5.1.
That's a great lap from Ant Waddington. So he running 3rd. So his target, of course, is going to be Jamie in the McLaren. Those two were very close together before the pit stop. So, and I think we'll probably be going to the end on those tyres. Moved on to a set of mediums at his first stop, so I would assume he's going to the end. Got to say as well, driver of the race for me at the moment is Kyle in the Mercedes. Started at the back, somehow has kept himself out of trouble, and he's up into 4th place, still yet to stop. Yeah, and he's actually at the moment going
That
with
actually,
and Waddington as well. So what a drive so far, and his first race in the league for Kyle in the Mercedes.
that is actually gets very impressive. Obviously, I don't want that Mercedes car to finish, but it is still an impressive drive, and it's going to be a driver to look out for, definitely for next season.
It is indeed. So meanwhile, the battle is still raging on here for 5th, 6th, 7th. Joe's dropped back a little bit. Yellow flag in sector 3. I think it might be Dan off the track. Dan and Fraser McKenzie having a very close fight. And yes, Dan is off the track at the chicane. He was very close to Fraser. We saw earlier on Fraser did push a couple of cars off the track. Not sure if maybe the same thing happened, because they were certainly close together, because Dan's got DRS despite being 4 seconds behind Fraser now. So I think those two were very close in the final chicane. So that's the battle for 15th position. Callum still stretching his lead.
Sorry to overtalk them.
No, you're fine.
It's nice to see Fraser absolutely actually fighting and having he's not in the points, but he's in the Williams and having a good battle with the cars that come along, and he's not just giving it up.
Yeah, we saw him earlier on having big fights with Gareth and Gregor as well, and Michael Booker as well. So he's much more on the pace here this weekend than he was in Russia. And it's good to see that Williams, he's 15th at the moment. His teammate just in the points in 10th place there is Anthony Bauer. So Jamie's up the pace a little bit, I would say, in second place, as Ant's wanting to stop catching him quite as quick as he was. So Jamie trying to respond, but it's very difficult, of course, in 26 lap old tyres when Ant's on brand new tyres. Kyle still doing a good job. He's still less than 2 seconds behind Ant as well. So excellent job in that Mercedes. Well, it appears I've lost Ben. So apologies to the viewers who are listening to that. But lap 28, we're just over the halfway distance now. Callum, with a 24-second lead, has just been absolutely imperious out front. Just has not made a single error. Been so consistent with his lap times, and the result is he's looking totally dominant in this race. Jamie Callan has driven well, had a good fight with Ant earlier on in the race, held on to him nicely as well despite being on the slower tyre, and he is looking very good as well here for second place as it stands. But of course he does have to make a stop. Ant Waddington behind him doesn't, but of course when Jamie pits, depending on what tyres he puts on, he'll be on the fresher rubber and could maybe start coming back at Ant. So that could be a good fight for second toward the end of the race. Kyle, fourth, also yet to stop. There's only a few cars yet to stop. They are Callum, Jamie, Kyle in fourth, and Anthony Bauer in 10th. They're the only cars yet to stop in this race. So they're all doing a good job. 3 of those are on the medium tyres, and of course Anthony, as we know, started on the hard tyres. Jamie Keats also on the hard tyres. He is up to 5th, despite all the instances he's been involved in. And that is Michael Booker off the track. He spun, I think that's down at Dunlop. At the end of the... Oh, Jorge just about saw him at the last second there and avoided an incident. But Michael Booker has spun that racing point. Not sure if another car was involved, but there's damage to the front wing end fence on that car now. So he may have to stop, depending on how bad the handling is. But he may have to pit with that. That's at least quite a lot of damage on that racing point. About half the left-hand side of the front wing has gone. So I think he may be in another one to just catch the grass on the exit and spin the car around. He wasn't really near anyone else on track. So that's going to cost him a lot of time. Oh, and Jorge has a big slide as well in the middle of Spoon. So this lot refuse to get away from each other, don't they here? Andrew 6th now in the McLaren. Devon 7th for Red Bull, and Joe Newman just behind them in 8th place. Jamie Keats has got a little bit of a gap now ahead of him, 3 seconds. Of course, he, I think, will have to stop. He has stopped already in this race, but I can't see a set of hard tyres going over 50 laps around here. It'd be impressive if he does, and Michael Booker does indeed pit after that error. So he was in 12th position, will probably fall behind the battle going on behind between Gareth and Gregor, and it's going to be close with Fraser McKenzie as well, as Gregor gets past Gareth in that fight. So these three still very, very close together. Meanwhile, Jamie has definitely maintained the gap a little bit more now. It's still 24 seconds, the gap between Callum and Jamie. Maybe Callum's tyres are just starting to go off a little bit. On lap 30 of the Grand Prix, don't forget he qualified on those tyres as well. So effectively 33 laps minimum there he's done on those tyres. Same for Jamie, but we've seen the sheer pace. Oh, look at that, Joe Newman thrown up the inside, almost contacted the McLaren, just about avoided it, but he has got past Devon. That was a brave move, very, very late on the brakes, and it has moved him up a place. Can Devon come back at him now, or is Joe going to be after Andrew? He is indeed. Well, that was very bold, and again, catching them quickly is the other person who's been in this fight through the whole race, and that is Arthur, but he's going to have to stop soon. He's done 16 laps on those soft tyres. Callum, wow, just as I thought his tyres were dying, he sets fastest lap of the race at 1:33.7, half a second quicker than anyone else. Stunning lap time on tyres that have done 30 laps. What an effort there from Callum. So it shows he has still got time in his pocket. So, well, he's just having a laugh with the rest of the field, really. If he can pull that out of the bag after 30 laps, what could he be capable of if he really had to push? That's incredible. Gained a second and a half on that lap to Jamie. The lead now 25.5 seconds. And still just about closing the gap to Jamie, because he won't want to take too much out of his tyres. Because we know that Jamie's going to have to stop, and then he's going to come out on the fresher tyres. Depending on how late he can go into the race, he may just be able to go onto a set of soft tyres. We're seeing the soft tyres last about 16, 17 laps. So if these guys can get maybe 5 or 6 laps more out of those tyres, they could go onto a set of softs and go to the end. Because we're seeing Arthur in 9th place, still setting reasonable lap times, and he's done, this is his 17th lap on these tyres. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. Let's see what's happened there. Has someone gone off, or they're just letting the leader through? I think it's just someone letting the leader through there. Can't see any incidents on track, or it might have actually been Fraser McKenzie. Yes, I think Fraser McKenzie's made an error because he's dropped behind Dan. We know he wasn't too far behind Michael Booker, so Fraser's dropped to 16th. He's now just 4.5 seconds ahead of Jimmy in the Haas, who started 14th on the grid. He's dropped to 17th, had a few problems. He's still got a lot of damage to that front wing by the looks of it, so they didn't change that at his stop. Might have just been able to increase the front wing angle to give him a little bit more grip. So I would say the fact that Callum is pushing as hard as he is here, because he's on another quick lap, I think possibly suggests he's getting near his pit stop. He might, I don't think it will be yet. I think, as I said, they will try and stretch this to get onto a set of softs, and they'll certainly be looking at how far into the Arthur's going on a set of soft tyres. 17 laps now. And yes, Fraser McKenzie pit, so I think he did make a mistake. And Fraser now drops to the back of the field. He's 17th. We've had 2 retirements and 1 non-starter, filled with technical issues in the Haas. Thomas Edwards crashed out early on, and as we heard from the Ferrari manager there, Ben Hazelwood, wrong setup on the Ferrari of Sam, hence why he kept spinning as Arthur pits from 9th position. So Ferrari decided to take the decision to retire Sam from the race, so he didn't cause any other incident. Certainly with Callum coming through the field to lap him, he wouldn't want to cause any problems there. So Arthur pits, he goes on to set of mediums. They will see him to the end quite easily, and he comes out right behind, or about 5 seconds behind Anthony Bauer, who's still going on his original set of hards. So Race very much settled down now. Callum's lead, well, he's got a pit stop in his pocket now, so it doesn't matter what anyone else does. He's got a 27.5 second lead over Jamie Callan in second place. So he's got a pit stop in his pocket, and Waddington's just closed the gap down to 15 seconds now. Between himself and Jamie. That's the battle for second we saw earlier on. Those two are very close together. Kyle still going well in fourth place. Still only 3 seconds behind Ant Waddington. Ant's dragging him along there. That is the Ferrari, the Williams ahead of Callum to be lapped. I think that is Anthony Barrow in 9th place. Jamie Keats is still in 5th place. He's gone a long way. He pitted at the end of lap 1, so he's gone a long way on those tyres as well. He's on a set of hards, and we've got still that battle going on here, which has been going on almost from lap 1. Joe, Andrew and Devon, this is 6th, 7th and 8th, still going at it hard, and I think these three will have to stop again, which brings Arthur back into the fray, because of course he's just made a stop as well. So this lot here are not finished yet. Look how close here Andrew's getting. He's on the slightly younger tyres. Well, actually, Devon's on the youngest tyres of a lot of them. But Andrew really getting close to the back of Joe here. Racing Point versus McLaren versus Red Bull in the fight for 6th position. Jamie Keats has done well, actually, now. He's pulled out to 7 seconds clear of the lot of them. So he's done a very good job to do that, because we saw how close they were for such a long time. Here is Callum. He's just lapped that Williams, and he's just driven absolutely brilliantly in this race. Pole position by 3/4 of a second, and when he's needed it, he's been the quickest driver out there by some margin as well. And he looks well on his way to taking another race win. And if he can get fastest lap as well, as I said earlier, he started the day 68 points behind Stephen, who's not racing here today. If he can get the fastest lap as well here, it takes the gap between himself and Stephen to 42 points if he wins the race and gets fastest lap. Yellow flag in sector 3. Let's see who's gone off. So I can't see anyone off the track at the moment. Yes, it's that's Joe Newman off the track. So Joe's gone off at the final corner. So that's cost him dearly, because he's now 14 seconds behind the battle that he was involved with. Devon's managed to get past Andrew as well, up into 6th position. Jorge pits from 11th. So that's his second stop of the afternoon. As Anthony Barrow, and that's Joe Newman off again. So Joe Newman, 2 mistakes in a lap. Because once you spin once, your rear tyres do get extremely hot, and in those S's, it's so easy to then oversteer. As the Toro Rosso of Arthur just squeezes past him. There's damage to Joe Newman as well here, so he's going to have to stop as Jamie Callan pits, and he has gone onto the set of soft tyres. So Jamie pits, as does Kyle. So 2nd and 4th are pitted, and Waddington has gone through to take 2nd position. But now, Jamie, on those soft tyres, he's about 5 seconds behind him. He should be able to close that gap very, very quickly. Soft tyres also go on the Mercedes of Kyle. He comes out comfortably in 4th place. So, good effort from him. Back of the grid, up to 4th, and he was far enough ahead of the rest of the field to remain 4th after his pit stop. So Callum now, well, it doesn't really matter what he does, how much further he goes. We're on lap 35 of the race. He's going to be stopping soon. And yes, the leader pits. So Callum pits from the lead. He's got a 44-second lead now after the pit stops. Absolutely incredible. And Jamie now setting out after Anthony Waddington. We're on lap 36, 17 to go after this lap. Callum likewise went onto a set of soft tyres. So let's see how big that lead is toward the end of the race. We've seen how quick he is so far. So a bit of oversteer there for Jamie, but he is eating into that lead, already taking a second out of Ant just on this lap. So what an outlap here Jamie. So I think the only slight concern is from what we've seen so far in the race, as Joe Newman makes it back to the pits. But what we've seen so far in this race is that Honda-powered Toro Rosso does seem better in a straight line than the McLaren. So he may struggle to get past him on pure speed. He may have to try and use the tyres performance to get past him somewhere else on the lap rather than the DRS zone. As Joe Newman sees Jamie coming and lets him go. So Callum Pitts comes out still well over 20 seconds in the lead. And he's also got onto a set of those soft tyres. So different strategy to Ant. Ant started on the softs, gone to mediums. Callum started on the mediums, has gone to the softs. Bit of oversteer in the middle of the spoon, but we've seen that a few times from him throughout qualifying as well. We saw him with a bit of oversteer. So he should be able to just romp away now in the lead even more than he has. Speeding in the pit lane for Anthony Bauer, who's pitted from 8th position. So well, they've given him a 5-second penalty. They'll probably take that right now as he's pitting anyway. So well, he's cost himself 5 seconds, but he should still come out in 9th position ahead of Jorge, who's now hanging on to the final point in the Renault. He will have Joe Newman on his tail very, very shortly. So here we go. Ant Waddington, I don't think he's going to have much of a defence, really. He's already lost for about 4 seconds of his lead as Jamie sets fastest lap of the race, a 1:33.0. What a lap from him there. Well, that will get Callum's attention. He wants all 26 points from this race. And Jamie's just nicked another point here at the moment. So this is going to be the fight now. We're going to concentrate on. And look at that. Kyle. Much quicker again. 1:31.9. Over a second quicker than anything else. What a lap there from Kyle. Well, at that pace, he will also catch Ant Waddington here as well. That was a stunning lap from Kyle, running 4th. But this is the fight now we're going to focus on. They've been close a few times in this race. But this is the fight for second place. Ant Waddington in the Toro Rosso and Jamie Callan in the McLaren. Joe Newman seems to have some sort of technical issues. He's running just outside the points at the moment in 11th place. He'll be disappointed with that. Hopefully he can get back in as soon as possible. But Callum, well, he just puts a benchmark in there. 1:31.1. That's a brilliant lap time again. These lap times are absolute tumbling. That is 8 tenths of a second quicker than Kyle, who himself was over a second quicker than anyone else. So Callum showing he's got absolute pace and grit on this race. So this is going to be the interesting one now. Ant Waddington in the Toro Rosso in a fight with Jamie Callan. Ant had great traction there out of the final chicane. That's how he managed to stay ahead despite the DRS for the McLaren. We're on lap 38. We've got 15 laps to go after this one as Michael Booker gets past Gareth. That's the fight for 12th position. Just very, very quickly here as well. Don't forget, fastest lap outside the top 10 gets 2 points at the moment. That is held by Joe Newman, number 35.0. He's in 11th place. But look out for him because he could yet get into the points proper. Oh, and look at this. Jamie had a good run out of Degner. Tried to go around the outside. The yellow flag takes one. He's done the cutback. He's got a good traction out of the hairpin. But Ant's going to resist him. And that's Michael Booker out of the race. Michael Booker's retired. Almost contact here between these two as they're fighting up. But Michael Booker has retired from the race. Where did he retire? Yeah, somewhere in the S's by the looks of it. I think it's where he spun off before, down in the Dunlop corner. There is a yellow flag. Is there going to be... And yes, look, he's right in the middle of the track there. But they have cleared him away. And Jamie has now got past Ant Waddington while we were trying to look for that accident. Jamie has got past Ant to move into second place. Meanwhile, Callum now half a minute clear of these two, has that Toro Rosso got enough straight line speed to come back, and the McLaren is going up the inside. This is going to be tight between them, and has, look at this total respect between these two drivers. And Jamie hangs on round the outside to retain second place. Great driving as Kyle's made a mistake as well. That was one of the yellow flags. He's completely lost his front wing. Kyle, who was driving so well, has now made a mistake, and he's dropped back to 5th, and he's going to have to make a stop. But what stunning driving there between Jamie and Ant to avoid an accident in turn 1. They were so close together, and somehow they avoided it. But Jamie now has got grip on that second position. He's going to start pulling away from Ant. There's nothing really Ant can do about it, unless, of course, Jamie makes a mistake some way. Jamie Keats, meanwhile, up to 4th now in the Alfa Romeo, after the error by Kyle, who's going to be coming out the pits in 8th position, I think. Because, yes, Arthur's just got past him. So, Jamie Keats in all this is up to 4th position. And there's another yellow flag. I think it might have just been someone letting one of the leaders go. So, top 10 now. Callum leads by half a minute. Ant Waddington's actually done a fine job of hanging on to Jamie Callan. This is the fight for second, and Jamie just ahead of Ant. Jamie Keats is 4th in the Alfa Romeo. There he is. 5th is Devon, which amazingly is where he's qualified, and we've seen him make a few errors in this race, so he's back into 5th place. 6th is Andrew in the second McLaren. He's got a little bit of damage there to his front wing, so he's been off somewhere as well. Arthur is 7th. No, he's not. Kyle's immediately got back past him. So Kyle back into 7th place ahead of Arthur. Anthony Bauer is 9th for Williams. Looking good to bring home more points for the Williams. And 10th is Jorge in the Renault. Looking like he can maybe snatch a point. So, meanwhile, we go back to this battle that's still raging as Andrew pits. So he has, and he also gets a penalty. So he pits from 6th position. But Ant Waddington refusing to go away here, isn't he? Absolutely refusing to go away. Pit stop there for Andrew has lifted Kyle up to 6th and Arthur up to 7th. But I really expected here Jamie to just start pulling away quite quickly from Ant. But Ant is hanging on remarkably well in 3rd position. So this battle's not quite over yet. Ant is still in the DRS zone. Maybe when Jamie can break that DRS zone, maybe he can pull away a little bit. But Ant doing a very, very good job. Once again in the Toro Rosso. 3rd. What a result this would be for them as well. Getting a podium. In a race I don't think there would be especially expecting a yellow flag in sector 1. We're watching the McLaren coming through sector 1 now, so let's try and see what it is. There is a Renault going a little bit slowly up ahead, maybe just ran off the track. It might have been Dan in 12th place. But Callum, well, he's just can turn everything down now. He's got a half a minute lead. He's just lapped Gregor, I believe it is, in 15th. But he can just afford to just take it easy here. And just make sure he doesn't do a silly error and end up pitching it into a wall somewhere. It's so easy to do. Well, I'll be surprised if he does, to be honest, as he's driven so well. Very, very few errors from him in 2 seasons so far. And Jamie has now pulled a bit of a gap to Ant. So I think this battle could be over between these two. I think Jamie's got the grip and the speed to be able to pull away nicely from Ant. But these two are over half a minute clear of this man in 4th place. If he made a stop here, Jamie, he will still come out. He'll come out around Kyle, actually. Maybe just behind him. So he'd still be in the top 6, which would be a great result from him. He started 4th on the grid. got caught up in turn 1, had to make a pit stop, or not necessarily turn 1, but the first lap, had to make a pit stop at the end of lap 1. He's still going on those hard tyres. I wonder if he can actually make those tyres go to the end, as Gareth makes a stop from 11th place in the other Alfa Romeo. So another good race though from Gareth. He started 18th on the grid, and we saw him have that spin earlier. And but apart from that, he's driven solidly, and he's in 13th place at the moment. So he's going for the fastest lap outside the top 10. He's on a brand new set of soft tyres. That at the moment is still being, well, that's actually being held by Gregor at the moment, who's done a 1:34.3. Greg will be so disappointed with this race. He was started the race so well, up in 4th for a long time, and then a few spins and errors as those soft tyres he was on originally faded, and now he's back to 15th position. Fraser McKenzie is currently last of the runners, and he has just got into the pits in the Williams. So, lap 43, and Waddington decides to pit. He's got nothing to lose really, may as well go for an extra point. He's got half a minute behind him, so completely worth it for Ant. Go for the fastest lap, and let's see what happens really. So that's completely relieved the pressure on Jamie, who is 31 seconds nearly behind the race leader. There is our race leader. Everyone up to and including Arthur in 7th place has now been lapped by Callum. That's how quick he's been. There's a good battle going on there. That's Toro Rosso and a Red Bull. Oh, sorry, that's Arthur lapping Gregor. So Arthur up to 7th. He's had all kinds of issues in this race, but he still manages to keep getting back into the top 10. And he's done it again as Gareth gets past Joe Newman to move into 12th. So let's see what the ultimate pace of that Toro Rosso is now that Ant's on a brand new set of softs. Oh, look at that. Arthur's made a mistake in turn 1, and Gregor's just unlapped himself. Pretty sure that, yeah, that is definitely Gregor. So, well, Gregor needs to get back out of the way of that Toro Rosso. He is a lap down. So he definitely, you can see the blue flags being shown there. He needs to get out of the way as quick as possible, or Gregor could end up with a penalty here. And he's still ahead of him, so not quite sure what's happening there. There is Devon in 5th position, where he qualified. And he'll be delighted with that after what happened to him on the first lap. He's on quite a good lap here himself at the moment. Looks like being his best one of the race so far. And he is 9 seconds behind Jamie, and he's catching him just about. And he's 11 seconds clear of Kyle in the Mercedes. But he should be going to the end here, Devon. So it would be a very good, strong result for him. 5th place in the Red Bull, who had a disastrous race in Russia. Both cars retired. Neither car made it into Q3. At least Devon here at the moment is hanging on to 5th position. Gregor has had a poor race really for him. He's down in 14th, just got past Joe to move into that 14th position. But the pace has been there, so that's something for them to build on, certainly for the following races. The pace has definitely been there. Here is Ant on those soft tyres now. Not going hugely quickly at the moment. He's only not closing the gap down as much as I thought. He's only 11 seconds clear of Jamie, but Jamie, if he can get to the end on these tyres, that is stunning. And Ant's on a very good lap here as well. Can he nick the fastest lap away from Callum? It'll be a good effort if he can. But if Jamie can get to the end on these tyres in 4th place, that'll be a stunning effort. That'll be over 50 laps on one set of tyres. That's Ant's fastest lap of the race, but he's still over a second slower than Callum's fastest lap. Callum's lead is now out to 32 seconds over Jamie in the McLaren. who's 24 seconds clear of Ant. I really think that Alfa Romeo might be trying to go to the end. Devon is catching him by about 3/4 of a second a lap at the moment, and that isn't enough. We've only got 8 laps to go after this one. So Jamie Keats, what a race and a result this would be if he can bring this home in 4th. He qualified 4th, but don't forget what's happened to him in this race. He got caught up in the first lap fracas, and he ended up having to pit, but he's just stayed out there, kept himself out of trouble ever since then, and the result is he's into 4th place thanks to other people's errors and extra pit stops. He's up into 4th position. So brilliant drive from him. Callum Nell's just started lap 46. There is Jamie doing the same. Yellow flag in sector 1. Not sure if someone's gone off. I think someone has this quite a long yellow flag. Let's have a look, see if I can find who it is. I think it might have been the Toro Rosso of Arthur. Just made a mistake. Possibly. I saw him going quite slowly. So there is Ant in 3rd. Quite content with that. A great result for him to get a podium with that car. Battle for 4th. Well, Jamie's up the pace a little bit, amazingly, and he's not losing as much as he was. So still 8 seconds between himself and Devon as Jimmy drops down behind Gareth. So Gareth on a fight back through the field. He's back into 12th position now. Devon also being caught by Kyle, so it's going to be close between these 3 later on in the race. The only other battle on track now is this one here. This is Andrew in the McLaren in 7th place, and right behind him is Arthur in the 2nd of the Toro Rossos. So this is the closest battle on track for 7th and 8th position at the moment. Both these two would love to score some good points. Joe Newman pits again. He is 15th. And that's his 3rd stop of the race. Callum's still pulling away. Nearly 35 seconds now, that lead. He's still pulling away very, very quickly indeed. There's an absolute stranglehold on the race. And it has been really from turn 1 of lap 1. I think the only way anyone could have possibly shown a candle to him is if they had managed to get past him off the line. But no one did. And the result is he's just romped away with this. Lap 47 now. Just a few laps to go after this one. This battle's still going on between Andrew and Arthur for 7th and 8th positions. Be a good result for both of them, really. Both had disappointing races in Russia. Andrew did come away with some points. He finished 9th in Russia, but he was looking a lot better than that for a while. And of course Arthur retired from the race, despite looking very, very strong, certainly qualifying. Couldn't quite keep it together in the race. The battle for 4th is only 7 seconds between Jamie and Devon now, and Kyle's got to get down to 6 seconds to Devon. So those two, I mean, Jamie is just doing such a brilliant job. He's done 45 laps on these tyres already. He's going to have to do another 5 or 6. So over 50 laps on this set of hard tyres is a spectacular effort. He's actually up on this lap, on his best lap of the race so far. So this is a stunning effort by Jamie. Showing extreme tyre management. Really, really doing very, very well. And that's what some of the team managers do look for, is how well you can look after the tyres. It's all very well being quick over a lap. If you can be consistently quick and look after your tyres, that's what a lot of the managers look for. And Jamie showing very, very good skills there. He's in 4th place. Another yellow flag in sector 1. So I think there might be someone actually coming out of here. Let's have a look. Yes, towards the car going slowly. It's one of the Williams. I think that's Fraser McKenzie running last as he lets Jamie go. I think he made a mistake in the middle of the S's there, did Fraser. So strong start to the race from Fraser. Definitely stronger than he was in Russia. But he's certainly faded toward the end of the race. He's at the back and he's 13 seconds behind Joe Newman as Anthony Bauer pits in the other Williams. He was running 9th. He should stay in 10th. Jorge has got past him. He should stay in 10th position. Meanwhile, look at these two. Andrew and Arthur very, very close together once again. Down to about half a second between these two. So Arthur rallying again. Now, Anthony Bauer's come out on a set of soft tyres. He's 20 seconds behind Jorge. I don't think he's going to catch that. So it looks like he's resigned himself to 10th in this race. Yellow flag in sector 3. I think that was someone letting Callum through. So Callum comes through to complete lap 49. He's got just 4 laps to go after this one. He's got 35-second lead. He doesn't need to push. Just make sure you finish. Same really for Jamie. He's 24.5 seconds clear of Van, who also likewise just needs to make sure he keeps it on the road because he's 15 seconds ahead of this man, Jamie Keats, in 4th. And Gregor and Gareth, I think, have come together. They have indeed down the pit straight. There's been contact between those two. Gareth with some damage. Gregor also with some damage. So I think those two, they were fighting over 12th position, which now Jimmy has got. And those two have come to blows in the final stages of the race. So they won't have too much further to go because they're a few laps down. They are 2 laps down, so they will only have a couple of laps left to do. Fastest up outside the top 10, incidentally, is held by Gregor, 1:33.2. Can't see anyone really beating that now. So good effort there from Gregor, despite the instant pat race, as he's now coming up to Gareth to pass him. Gareth, of course, with a lot of front wing damage, so I can't see him putting up too much of a fight. Gareth is very, very fair like that. Got a lot of front wing damage. He generally just lets the drivers go. Oh, that's the McLaren off. That's Andrew off at the Spoon. He was fighting Arthur for 7th, and he's made a mistake at Spoon, and it's cost him that position. Arthur takes another place. So Arthur cracked under pressure there. Sorry, Andrew cracked under pressure from Arthur, and that's Anthony Bauer off. Anthony Bauer's made a mistake. He's in the final point scoring position at the moment, and he's got to wait for this traffic to go through. So Dan, in 11th position here, could yet take this position, and he does. Dan goes through into the final point. Disaster for Anthony Bauer. He's got himself up into that final point scoring position, and that's the leader lapping him as well. We're on lap 51. Gareth and Gregor both pit. But Dan will be delighted because that has put him into the final World Championship point. He finished 8th in Russia, mainly thanks to the high attrition rate really in that race. But Dan is now into the points, so a double point scoring finish at the moment for the 2 Renaults, who are running 9th and 10th. Jorge finished 10th. So I finished 8th in Russia. And at the moment they're on for another double point scoring finish. But look at this though. Arthur's not given up yet. He's come back at Andrew. He's actually caught the gap up very, very quickly. So these two here still in the fight. Also, Look at this. This is 5th and 6th here. Devon has given up, I think, on catching Jamie. And now has Kyle for company. Just a second and a half behind him. So this is going to be a good fight right to the end as Anthony Bauer does pick. So Jimmy now moves up to 11th place. That's the closest Jimmy's got to a point so far this season. So anyone else drops out from the top 10. And he will snatch that position. Callum's now stretched his lead to 40 seconds. He just squeezes past the racing point. That is Joe Newman to lap him. As that is one of the Renaults as well, about to be lapped for a second time. As Gregor takes another penalty, he's 13th in this race at the moment. What an instant field race it's been for him, really. Now that was Dan being lapped for the second time in this race by Callum. So Callum Harrod now about to start the final lap of the race. We're on lap 53 of 53 when he crosses the line. Driver of the day, you've got to give it to Callum Harrod, really. He's driven superbly. I haven't seen a single error from him all day. Qualifying, he was brilliant. And here in the race, he's just shown he's been as quick as he needs to be at any point in this race. So, driver of the day for Callum, but I will say notable drives for Ant Waddington coming home third, and also Jamie Keats having those hard tyres going 50 laps. So Callum definitely driver of the day, but closely followed up by Ant and Jamie in 3rd and 4th place. Those two have driven absolutely brilliantly. Jamie to get 50 laps out of a set of tyres is superb. Well, Callum, with Stephen not racing here this weekend, he really wanted to win this, get fastest lap, get the maximum points he can to improve his chance in the World Championship. He had a great race in Russia to close the gap down to Stephen, who was only able to finish 6th in that race. Whereas he won, so he clawed back a lot of points there, and he's going to do it again. Comes round the final corner, down into the final chicane now. And Callum Harrod with a drive of pure dominance. Comes round the final corner, and Callum Harrod wins the Japanese Grand Prix with fastest lap at the end as well. A 1:31.1. Brilliant race from him. Over 40-second lead now. Here is Jamie Callan in 2nd place, also driven extremely well. Stuck the McLaren on the front row. Had a good fight with Ant early on. As Dan has finished as well in 10th place, he'll be delighted to pick up that final point for Renault. Jamie Callan now comes into the final chicane. He's going to finish in 2nd position. Good drive from him. He finished 2nd. He comes out bottom. Look how close it is here between Devon and Kyle. This is the battle for 5th and 6th. And I think they're the last two that haven't been lapped as well. So it could come down to the final chicane. Could be a do or die move there. Here comes Ant Waddington. Stunning drive from him once again to finish 3rd for Toro Rosso. Jamie Keats as well. 51 laps. 52 laps he's done on this set of hard tyres. He's going to come home forward. Look at these two. Look how close it is down into the final chicane. And Kyle's gone for it. He has cut the corner. I think he's going to have to let the Toro Rosso, the Red Bull go. Jamie Keats has finished in 4th. And Devon just hangs on to 5th. Ahead of Kyle in 6th position. Well, action right to the very, very end there. Kyle had to go for it, really. Didn't have a lot to lose. But in the end, Devon just about able to hang on and take 5th position. I'm going to try and see if I can get these top 3 now in for an interview. So we've got Callum and Jamie. I'll see if I can get Ant Wallington in as well. Can't seem to find him at the moment. Let's see what I can find out. There we go. So just waiting for the top 3 now to join. Jamie, if you can just make sure your audio is included, mate.
It is, mate.
Good. Callum as well, if you just make sure your audio is included. What a drive from you, Callum. You must be delighted with that. Absolutely. Okay. But Callum, you must be delighted with that absolute dominant performance. You were 3/4 of a second quicker than anyone else in qualifying. And then you dominated their race. You must be delighted with that.
Yeah. No, I'm happy. Yeah, it's a good result, really.
I mean, we saw at various points of the race, you suddenly just pulled out a quick lap from absolutely nowhere. I mean, were you pushing hard or was it quite easy for you, really?
No, I think that during my stint, I was sort of looking after my tyres, so I know that at the end of the stint, I had a lot in them, and you know, I saw Ant Pitt come out and set a fastest lap, so I just sort of wanted to see how close I could get to it with my worn tyres, and it turns out that I managed to beat it. So
Yeah.
I had good pace there, really.
You certainly did. I mean, if you were pushing all the way through there, it's scary to think how big the lead might have been. I mean, Jamie, you did well there in the McLaren. You stuck it on the front row. You must still be pleased with second.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, I made up with second. To be honest, it was good. I liked Suzuka, and yeah, quali was good. And beginning of the race was tough. I mean, Callum obviously was flying and got away, and Sam in front in Ferrari was quite aggressive to start with, but he lost it and ended up in the barriers. And then myself and Ant kind of battled it out for a bit.
Yeah, we saw some brilliant racing there with you and Anthony through the race. That must have been as fun to do as it was watching that, because that was absolutely brilliant through there.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I really enjoy racing against Ant. He's a dead clean racer, and he knows how wide his car is. And we've had some good battles. So yeah, I really enjoyed that actually. And he was on the softs at the beginning, and I was on the medium, so I knew he was always going to be hard to keep behind me. And I knew that at the end of the race, my strategy had come to me, so which it did.
Indeed, I haven't actually got Ant in the party, unfortunately, but Ben, as the manager, almost perfect race for you there, really.
Yeah, almost. Obviously, as we spoke about when I jumped in through the middle of the race, obviously the silly Ferrari engineers putting the wrong setup on. But yeah, no, obviously Callum took the win, so thank you and congratulations to him. Oh, and that fastest lap, I forgot about that.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Did well. Always rely on the manager to keep me up to date with everything. But I would like to also thank Jamie quickly his setup with a few little tweaks that I used tonight.
So it's all your fault, Jamie.
Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, buddy.
But Callum, I was just doing some quick maths earlier on as well. It means the championship lead is now down to 42 points. So it was a big gap a couple of races ago. It's within sight now.
Still too big.
Nah, it's not.
There's, 4 races to go, am I right?
4 races left.
4 races, 104 points on offer. It's not impossible.
It's not impossible, but you know, he's a good racer, and obviously, unfortunately, he missed out on turning up today. But I think that he'll be there for the remaining races, and you know, I don't see him taking too many risks now, with him knowing that he's not really got to score that many points to wrap the championship up. So, no, to be honest, I'm just enjoying the last couple of races now. You know, there's no pressure. No one expects me to be able to catch up to Steve now, so I just go out every week and I have fun.
Well, it certainly worked for you to stay. Brilliant race, brilliant victory. Thank you very much for joining me this evening, gentlemen. And on to the next
cheers,
one.
mate. You did an awesome job.
Thank
again.
you.
So thank you very much to everyone who joined me this evening. And join me again next week for the next race in the Talk of the Devil League. Hopefully it'll be just as exciting as this one. But until then, goodbye for now.